All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down one of the most classic questions you'll ever face in a senior cloud engineering interview. We're going to build the perfect answer together, piece by piece.
So, picture it. You're in the interview, things are going well, and then they drop this one on you. So, when do you use Aurora, and when do you use RDS? What they're really testing here isn't just your knowledge of AWS services. They want to see how you think. This isn't about memorizing facts. It's about demonstrating real-world experience.
And this quote, it really hits the nail on the head. The best answer isn't about declaring one database the winner. No way. It's about showing you understand it's all about trade-offs. It's about proving you know how to pick the right tool for the job at hand based on the specific context of the project.
Okay, so let's start by building the case for the powerhouse of the two, AWS Aurora. This is the one you reach for when an application is seriously pushing the limits and needs a whole lot more muscle than a traditional database can provide.
The real secret sauce to Aurora is its architecture. You see, unlike regular RDS, it separates the database's brain, the compute part, from its long-term memory, the storage layer. This one fundamental difference is what unlocks its absolutely incredible performance, especially for those high-traffic, mission-critical systems that simply cannot slow down.
And that clever design leads directly to this number. We're talking up to 5 times the throughput of standard MySQL running on RDS. Think about that for a second. You don't have to change a single line of your application's code, and boom, you get a massive performance boost. For a system that's already under strain, that is an enormous amount of breathing room.
Aurora's storage is also just built differently. It's way more resilient. It grows on its own as you need it, so you can say goodbye to those frantic nights trying to provision more disk space. And durability? It's on another planet. Your data is automatically replicated 6 times across 3 different data centers. A standard high-availability RDS setup, it only does 2 copies. That is a huge leap in data safety right out of the box.
Now, if you have an application that gets hammered with read requests, this is an absolute game changer. Aurora can have up to 15 read replicas. That's 3 times what you can get with standard RDS. And because they're all tapping into that same shared storage layer, the lag between your main database and the replicas is basically 0. We're talking milliseconds, not seconds. That's critical for things like real-time dashboards or a fast-moving social feed.
But what happens when things go wrong? This is where it gets really important. With a normal RDS multi-AZ setup, a failover can take 1 to 2 minutes. And for a critical app, that feels like an eternity of downtime. Because of its shared storage, Aurora typically fails over in under 30 seconds. That difference is what separates a minor blip from a really, really expensive outage.
And now, for Aurora's coolest party trick, Aurora Serverless v2. If you've got a workload with crazy, unpredictable traffic, like, say, a viral marketing campaign, you don't want to pay for peak capacity all day, every day. It's just a waste of money. Serverless v2 automatically scales your database compute up and down in seconds, so your bill perfectly matches what you're actually using. It's the ultimate in cost savings for that kind of spiky traffic.
So, Aurora sounds pretty amazing, right? But a senior engineer knows it is not always the right answer. So let's flip the script and build the case for good old RDS. This argument is all about being pragmatic and, of course, keeping an eye on the cost.
Let's be real. The #1 reason to stick with RDS is the price tag. Aurora comes at a premium. It's generally about 20 to 30% more expensive than a comparable RDS instance. And hey, if your application doesn't actually need all that elite performance, you're just paying for a high-performance engine you're never going to redline.
Another huge factor is just plain simplicity. Aurora's powerful architecture is, well, more complex. There are more moving parts. RDS is just easier for a team to understand, operate, and troubleshoot. There's less for your team to wrap their heads around when something goes wrong. For many teams, that lower operational burden is a feature, not a bug.
Now, this one can be a complete deal breaker. You see, Aurora is compatible with MySQL and Postgres, but RDS gives you the real thing. If you're migrating an old application that's super picky about specific database versions, RDS is the safe, zero-risk choice. And of course, if your company runs on Oracle or SQL Server, RDS is your only managed option on AWS, period.
So it all comes down to fitting the tool to the actual workload. Is your app a back office tool, an internal CRM with predictable steady traffic every day? If so, all of Aurora's fancy autoscaling and high-performance features are just overkill. A simple fixed-size RDS instance will get the job done just fine and be way more cost-effective.
All right, we've heard both sides of the story. Now let's just put them right next to each other and really highlight the key differences. And I mean, the table tells the whole story, doesn't it? Aurora is the clear winner on all the high-performance metrics. 3 times the replicas, lag in milliseconds, way faster failover, double the storage, and it has that awesome serverless option. But then you get to that last row, cost. And that's where RDS has the clear advantage. This table is the entire trade-off summed up perfectly.
So the numbers are clear, but an interview isn't about reciting stats from a table. It's about showing wisdom. This final part is all about how you take that data and turn it into a confident, senior-level answer.
You start by confidently stating the case for Aurora. You list the specific technical needs that make it the only logical choice. This shows you're not just picking it because it's the new shiny toy. You're picking it because its unique features solve a very specific and difficult set of problems.
And then you immediately show your balance. You articulate the equally valid reasons why you'd go with RDS. This shows you're pragmatic. It proves you understand real-world constraints like budgets and team skills. It shows you think like someone who owns the problem, not just a technologist who loves cool tech.
And this, right here, is the key takeaway. A junior engineer might say, oh, Aurora is just better. But a senior engineer says, well, it depends. And then they clearly explain their decision-making framework based on these 3 things: the technical needs of the workload, the financial reality of the budget, and the operational maturity of the team.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about in your own work. The real question isn't which tool is better. It's about identifying that precise tipping point, the moment where the demands on your system become so great that they justify the leap from the simple pragmatism of RDS to the incredible power of Aurora. When you can answer that, you're giving the senior engineer's answer.